give me a few more minutes to talk. So I'm now between you and lunch, and I don't want to be the public enemy number one, so I will finish hopefully in 13 minutes. So the University of Michigan just launched a new mobility transformation center, and this is not a research center in the traditional sense. We really are recruiting many partners from the government and from industrial side. And hopefully we will be able to line up a group of corporations and state agencies working with us to realize the vision we have. Okay, so the goal of the center is not, again, a traditional research development center. We really want to focus on demonstration, deployment of technologies. I think we are at the phase that many of the technologies are mature to a certain level that we should have a so-called living laboratory to demonstrate these technologies. And so let me jump right into the three projects. If you are going away without remembering anything else, I hope you will just remember this slide. MTC, Mobility Transformation Center, has the goal of launching three projects. The first project is to expand the safety pilot model deployment project that you have heard a couple of times today. But this afternoon you will hear a little bit more detail from Debbie, one of my colleagues at the University of Michigan, talking about the details of the safety pilot project. Right now we have about 3,000 vehicles in the city of Ann Arbor, and also a quarter of the city was instrumented, and we want to expand that to about 9,000 vehicles and to about the whole city of Ann Arbor, including the surrounding freeways. So I'll tell you a little bit more details later, but this is one of the projects. The second project is working closely with not only DOT but also the Michigan Department of Transportation to connect the freeway systems in the southeast Michigan. And we think we can easily recruit about 20,000 vehicles, mostly from corporate fleet. Just to give you one example, why I think I said we can easily do that is just Ford Motor Company, one company, they have 30,000 corporate fleet sizes, 30,000. So by working with a few of these automotive companies in the region, we think we can recruit 20,000 vehicles. And by instrumenting the highway system, particularly two interstate highway, I-94 and I-275, and with this large fleet, we think we will be, again, building a living laboratory to test the selected V2V and V2I functions. And the third project is to design, build, and operate an integrated network of 2,000 connected, coordinated, driverless, and shared vehicles, serving roughly 10% of the mobility need in the city of Ann Arbor. Okay, so that's the vision of the three projects. So let me give you a little bit more details of these three projects. The first project has a very strong base. So again, you heard about the safety pilot, and this is basically showing the northeast quadrant of the city, and we have instrumented 19 intersections and some curve speed warning locations and so forth. And right now we have about 3,000 vehicles. Again, this is showing the fleet. Most of the fleet are recruited, privately owned cars, but we also have some truck fleet, and also the University of Michigan bus fleet are pretty much instrumented, almost all. And this is a detailed breakdown of the 3,000 cars. About 2,400 of them only talk, so they have GPS, they have PSRC, they talk to each other, they talk to the infrastructure, but they do not listen. On the other hand, there are 300 cars that not only talk, but also listen, and give some example safety warning functions. The purpose of these vehicles are not to refine and improve these safety functions. We're just to test the real-life performance of this DSRC and the communication data recording system, and to see what are the opportunities. So that's why we call those safety pilot. They are only pilot study, not a commercialized study. The third group are 67 cars, 64 passenger cars and 3 trucks, basically designed by the Kemp partners. So these vehicles are a lot more complicated. The DSRC GPS are fully integrated with the vehicle campus, so the vehicle record a lot more channels. This is a lot more advanced than the 300 cars we have in the middle. So what is the plan of Project 1? Project 1, sometimes we also call that Ann Arbor Connectivity Project. So this is the current locations of the instrumented intersections. And we have, again, this is the statistics, 19 intersections and so forth. And this is limited to the northeast quadrant of the city. And we have about 2,800 vehicles. And this is the plan. The plan is we want to instrument many more intersections, cover the whole city of Ann Arbor, and again, wherever fiber optics end, we will be instrumenting the surrounding highway system also. So the city of Ann Arbor is very manageable. So the vertical height is about 5 miles, and east-west is also about 5 miles. So it's a good-sized city, but it's a very busy downtown, but it's manageable. And we think at the end we will instrument 60 intersections and the whole city and 9,000 vehicles. So why are we proposing to make things bigger? So that's not the whole point. The point is not only we are making the whole city again a living laboratory to test many of the functions, but also in the next phase we think we will greatly enhance the scope. For example, this is statistics of the traffic fatalities in the U.S. So you see the red bars, the total number of fatalities are coming down. However, if you look at the blue, which is the motorcycle, and the green, which is the pedestrian percentage, looking at the right-hand side of the vertical axis, together they are responsible for about 30% of the total fatalities. And the percentage is increasing over the last decade. So we think that the next phase, one thing we will add, this is just one example, one thing we will add is to dramatically increase the testing of functions related to motorcycles and pedestrians. And the table in the bottom shows that motorcycles are a lot more fatal and a lot more dangerous. And this is, we cannot say about vehicle mile travel for pedestrians, but there are a lot of pedestrians killed. So we think the current safety pilot, we do have 2 motorcycles, and we have tested some very initial functions, but this will be expanded in the next phase. And we also want to expand to bicycle. Also, we have 1 bicycle currently, and this also will be expanded. And finally, Ann Arbor, if you ask how many pedestrians accidents were happening in the city of Ann Arbor, we have our share. These are the statistics of the pedestrian accidents and pedal cyclist accidents that were happening in the city of Ann Arbor. Quite a few. Most of them are injury only, but we do have a few fatal accidents shown, for example, the red diamond shape symbol and so forth. And the city of Ann Arbor also has a very busy downtown because it's a college town. And if I just point you to the upper left figure, you can see that we do have wide streets, and this is Plymouth Road, and the speed limit is 45 miles per hour, but it's mixed with pedestrian traffic. On the right-hand side, right upper photo, you do see that in the downtown, students are ignoring the traffic signals, and even when it's red, they just walk through the cars. Probably they believe all the cars are instrumented, they are all C2X connected, and they think they can maneuver through the traffic safely. So it's a very fertile ground for study of very interesting pedestrian-vehicle interactions. So currently we are thinking about the P2V, pedestrian-to-vehicle communication concept, and we think they will be integrated with mobile phones. I'm running short of time, so I need to pick up my pace. Project 2, basically the U.S. has invested more than $1 billion over the last 10 years on V2V, V2I functions, especially on the connected vehicle side. But in other countries are deploying, including Japan and Europe and China. Assuming positive NHTSA V2V decisions by the end of this year, we think that there must be a project that demonstrates and find the day one benefits clearly. And the argument of why Southeast Michigan. First of all, there are many test beds, including the one in the city of Ann Arbor I just described. And oh, by the way, many of you, I hope, are coming to Detroit for the ITS Congress next September. And this is the chart showing the optical fiber infrastructure, and they are important to implement the IPv6 protocol for the connected vehicles. And these are the stars are showing the major automotive research development centers, and these are showing locations that we know are doing automated vehicle research and development. Again, just by saying Ford Motor Company alone has 30,000 corporate fleet, this is probably the best environment to build a living environment and to test large-scale V2V, V2I demonstrations. So we do think that Southeast Michigan is the ideal location. Again, this is the scope. 20,000 vehicles will be installing about 500 infrastructure nodes and distribute some aftermarket devices, 5,000 of them also. And also it's very important to mention that the lessons learned in the Southeast Michigan can be duplicated to other locations. So we think it's a good first try, but we're not precluding, or we will be cooperating with many other places to make sure that we learn together. Project 3 is very ill-defined at this moment, but then again, we are thinking many of the companies are talking about automated or even autonomous vehicles by 2020. And this cannot be happening without the support from many other things. For example, within the scope of this project, we'll be working with the city of Ann Arbor and the state of Michigan to make sure that we change and adapt the regulations so that autonomous vehicles can be tested first in our test facility and then move on to the campus of University of Michigan and then move on to the city of Ann Arbor. And by doing that very carefully, learning phases, we think we will be helping to move the state-of-the-art forward. And let me first introduce you about the major investment we are already making for the so-called Michigan Mobility Transformation Facility. And the facility is designed to be the test ground for connected and autonomous vehicles. And right now we are working to recruit companies, partners to work with us on autonomous fleet, level 3 to level 4. And we want to work with DOT and the companies together to define a rigorous testing and certification process. We will also be thinking about talking to companies that has rental services such as Zipcar, Uber, and so forth. And to operate the fleet, we certainly don't think the University of Michigan should operate the fleet. Seamless adaptation to and of the city and state regulations and we want to also test completely the cybersecurity side, including the certification management system. And we want to demonstrate values of B2B, B2I functions. So this is an artist rendering of the mobility transformation facility. It will be not the traditional test track, but it will have an urban area with busy streets with signals, lights, mailboxes, mechanized pedestrians, mechanized bicycles, trees, and railroad crossing, tunnels. So it's a very complicated design. And I'm showing you a very low resolution idea of the layout. We are not supposed to give any handout of this yet, but you can see that we do have a track layout design already, and I'm showing you some of the details, but in the interest of time, I will be just go through that very quickly. So in summary, if you don't remember anything else, we want to demonstrate a mobility system that addresses orders of magnitude in investment in safety, energy, congestion, and societal impacts. Currently, we have 3 projects. If you can remember them, I would very appreciate that. Ann Arbor connectivity, Southeast Michigan connectivity, and Ann Arbor automation. So that's my presentation. Thank you so much.